Let's look at the question first. They want to support the hypothesis. I can tell we're gonna, have a lot of sciencey stuff here. Just looking at it's a long passage, so let's try not to get intimidated, but also the choices are kind of long. So this might be one where at first you might skip it, but let's see if it's as bad as it looks. Biologist, whatever, and her team have investigated two subspecies of the fork-tailed flycatcher bird that live in the same region in Colombia, but one subspecies migrates south for part of the year and the other doesn't. So, okay, one migrates. The researchers found that due to slight differences in feather shape, the feathers of migratory forked-tail flycatchers males make a sound during flight that is higher pitched than that made by the feathers of non-migratory males. Oh my gosh, okay, so the feathers are different. Feathers, different. The researchers hypothesized that fork-tailed flycatcher females are attracted to the specific sound made by the males of their own subspecies, and that over time the female's preference will drive further genetic and anatomical divergence between the subspecies. So preference derives divergence. Okay, so we want to support that. So basically, there's a difference between the males and the females are being choosy. Like, I kind of get it. Let's take a look at the choices. A, the feathers located on the wings of the migratory fork-tailed flycatchers have a narrower shape than those of the non-migratory birds, which allow them to fly long distances. Well, it's not about the distance. And again, it's like the female preference is kind of what I'm interested in, right? Female preference, and then specifically divergence, right? They got to diverge. This is just about them flying. Like, it might be true, but I just don't care. It's not talking about the species diverging. B, over several generations, so sounds like we're talking about time passing, the sound made by the feathers of migratory male fork-tailed flycatchers grows progressively higher pitched relative to that made by the feathers of non-migratory males. Okay, well, maybe because there's a divergence, right? Well, that's the strong word here, divergence. So if they get progressively higher, they're diverging further, right? So, okay, in a dumb way, that seems right. Let's look at C, though. Fork-tailed flycatchers communicate different messages to each other depending on whether their feathers create high-pitched or low-pitched sounds. Okay, I like the difference, but the key part about the idea of a divergence is it's happening further and further as time goes on. This is just like a single moment in time. They're communicating different messages to each other now. That might be true, but how is that going to change over time? What is the female preference going to do? So I like B better. It has more to do with things passing over time. And so it literally says here, over time. So that's a good example of something that normally I associate with trap answers, right? The idea of something changing over time, I think of as maybe a bad thing in an answer choice. But in this case, I want it because the passage has it too. So C, where's the time thing? I don't see it. D, the breeding habits of the migratory and non-migratory fork-tailed flycatchers remain generally the same. No, that's not a divergence. We need it to spread. So yeah, it's B. C maybe is kind of close because it's talking about some sort of difference between things, and so is the whole passage. But notice the two ideas that we really focus on, a divergence of some kind over time, both things are in B. I don't really need to understand this on some deeper level. It's really just about noticing the right strong words. And they tell us to focus on the conclusion, or the hypothesis. So remember, there's a lot of intro, and it's important in certain ways, but really it's that end sentence that's the most important. You got to read everything, but you should really be tuning in to strong words when you get to that end part where they talk about the conclusion, the hypothesis, the explanation, whatever it may be.